There's a long question here, and I'm just going to summarize it because it's about your life plan and how to know what to do about your life plan. And the person is describing that he or she feels attracted to doing something about children and the education of children, but has a division that I think many people actually will recognize. So they're talking. The person is talking about their intuitively, I feel pretty certain that my gift, as I think you call it, has to do with children, but I see two distinct paths for myself. Both paths have a pull on me, but they are different. One is very serious and the other playful and creative. The serious path also comes natural to me, but it has a different energy. I'm very interested in parenting and educational matters, and I seem to receive ideas about this. These ideas feel like downloads from somewhere outside my mind, and when I get them, I feel energized in a calm manner. I feel a sense of purpose and belonging, but when it comes to bringing these ideas into the world in any way, I lose energy. I thought about making YouTube videos or write a book about these ideas, but there isn't the motivation or energy. There isn't the motivation or energy I feel when I'm working on the playful creative path. I just don't feel like doing the work, so to speak. So, long story, but I guess my question is, what's going on here? How can I best deal with this? What could be the cause of my confusion or split? And when I think back on all the times I've been on the spiritual path, I see in myself and others this split. As spiritual people, we often have this. It's almost like we would like to be creative, but we don't really want to deal with the serious, nitty-gritty details of life. And it's almost like we have, as a defense mechanism, we have put ourselves in a state of mind where we don't really engage in the world, but at the same time we have a desire to change the world. And I think this person and other people who feel like this would benefit from my playlist about avatar psychology. Because the whole idea there is that many spiritual people are what I call avatars, and this basically means we are not the original inhabitants of the earth. We came from what I call a natural planet where there isn't warfare, poverty, and all these negatives that we see on earth. And we came here to have a positive impact on earth to help hold the spiritual balance for earth so it can again rise to become a natural planet. And I explain that in much more detail there. So what I have seen in myself and many other spiritual people is this. It's like we have an idealized view that we would like to have a positive impact on earth, or we would like to see the earth change in a positive way. But at the same time, we are reluctant to fully engage ourselves in some physical activity that requires a lot of effort, a lot of work. So we've sort of put ourselves in between two chairs. And it can really lead to a lot of frustration for people because you have the almost obsessive compulsive drive to do something, be creative, bring forth new ideas, but on the other hand you can't get yourself to really do what needs to be done. And it really has to do with the fact that on a natural planet, right? On a natural planet, the energy, matter itself is not as dense as it is on Earth. That means it's much more easy to be creative on a natural planet. You can basically manifest things through the powers of the mind on a natural planet. Whereas on Earth, because of the density of matter and energy and the collective consciousness, it requires a lot more effort, a lot more physical work. And you have to engage. You have to engage with other people and so forth. And actually you see a certain tendency that creative people don't like to engage with the world. Like the example that comes to mind is that Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. He was basically a creative person and inventor. What he wanted to do was invent. Some of these creative people, their ideas never become commercialized. But Edison met a man who was a very good businessman, and he then ran the business side of the empire, so that they together formed this balance, so that one had the ideas and the other could carry them out. And that's what you see sometimes, but you also see some people, like for example Tesla, I think, who was a creative person but didn't want to engage in business. He was not a businessman, he didn't want to do business. I myself, I like to be creative, I like to bring forth ideas. I don't care about making money. That doesn't interest me whatsoever. But I have over the years learned that in order to get anything done, get any websites done, get any books published, I had to engage myself in the nitty-gritty. And I look back at my life and you can say, oh yeah, you published 80 books, that's a lot. But I did all the work on those books. I edited them, I proofread them. So I spent a lot of time just proofreading. And that wasn't particularly creative, it wasn't necessarily particularly fun, but I just knew it had to be done because it was the only way it could be done. So what I'm trying to say is, if you really want to do something about a problem like this, take my avatar psychology playlist, watch those videos, try to get to the bottom of these subconscious selves, because this split that we're talking about, this started when we came to Earth and we had this, what I call the cosmic burst trauma, where we created this primal self to deal with Earth so that we can psychologically survive here. Because the shock we received was, I can't psychologically live here on Earth. I can't survive on this planet. And this has created this split, as I said. We ideally would like to see things to happen, but we don't really want to consider what is it actually going to take to change something, to manifest something, to do something on Earth. And I don't think until we heal that split, we can overcome it. And the other thing I would say is that when you overcome this burst trauma, you can begin to ask yourself the question. There is a creative path, there's a serious path. I would say there's a creative one and there's a practical one. Why does it have to be a split between them? Why do they have to be different? They're different in your mind because you have this wound from the trauma. But once you overcome the trauma, you can come to say, well, why are they really different? Anything requires two things, an idea and the practical steps to make it a manifest reality. That's incidentally also the way it is on a natural planet. It's just easier on a natural planet. So really it's just a matter of saying, okay, I have to accept that I'm on Earth. This is the kind of environment I'm in. There are some practical realities here for how to manifest things. And if I really want my ideas to be carried out, I just have to do it. I just have to decide to do it. Now, I'm not telling this person who says, I've thought about writing books or doing YouTube videos, but I don't have the motivation. I'm not telling the person to make a decision with the outer mind and override this reluctance to do something. I'm telling the person to resolve the psychology so that it becomes easier. But still, even when you resolve the psychology, comes one, you have to make a decision. Number one, I'm going to do something. And number two, what is it actually going to take? Because I see, both in myself and many spiritual people, that when it comes to and I've said this before about our life plan, sometimes we have a good intuitive sense of the what. What are we here to do? What's our gift? What are we meant to bring? Like in this case, something with children and education. But we don't have a clear understanding of the how. What is it going to take to manifest it? How can this be manifest? And so we need to bring the two together. We need to look at it. And really, as I said, until you resolve that psychology, the trauma of being on Earth, you can't really do it. I'm not saying decide this with the outer mind. I'm saying resolve the psychology, then it'll be much easier. But you still have to make the decision to look at what exactly is it going to take to do this. It's like I see so many people, and I've talked about this before with law of attraction and the manifestation. You have these people, they decide, I want to make a certain amount of money. I want to have a specific house, a nice house and a nice car. So to make a treasure map, they focus on this, they focus their attention on this, but they don't ask themselves the question, how am I actually going to make this money? It's like They really believe that they can just manifest it out of thin air. It's just somehow the orange is going to drop in their turban. And it just isn't realistic. I mean, you want to make money, you have to look at what does it take to make money on earth. You have to do something. You have to provide either a product or service that other people will pay you for. And if you're thinking you can just sit there and look at a picture of a wonderful house that you found in a magazine, and someday it's going to just manifest, somebody's going to show up and say, oh, I would like to give you this $1 million house. I mean, hello, you know, just get with the program and realize what kind of planet you're on. So anyway, that would be my response, because I've seen it myself over the years that I can manifest things, but I have to take the practical steps. I have to do something. I have to put myself out there. I have to provide some kind of product and service. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. You can sit around in your own little bubble, or you can get out of the bubble and say, what is it going to take to manifest what I see in my creative vision?